It is 2 days after I got ran over by my horse. I have been gimping around. I don't even know how I am currently sitting outside in front of this camera, but I made it a priority that I did not want to stop vlogging. And when you have a lot of downtime, because now it's about to be a week since I've literally like basically had to lay down at home because I was sick, and now this, it's like, it's been reminding me a lot of something I have wanted to go into with you guys for quite some time, but just didn't know how or when I exactly wanted to. And I figured this is actually the most perfect time because I'm starting to really feel those emotions again. Especially by lying down. I actually get really anxious when I have to lay down for a certain amount of time because it reminds me of my past. I have just recently discovered in this past year that I am severely codependent, like severely codependent. I wish I had known this a lot earlier on in my life. I think it would have helped me a lot more if I knew exactly where my mental state and health was, but I just didn't have the answers. I thought that like I just was being a drama queen. I just thought that like, I don't know, you don't know what to think when you are in a brain like a codependent's brain. You know, I am still very young. I'm grateful I know now. Now I just know like red flags, like what I'm doing, how to get out of it, yada yada yada. I am opening up about this because I am a millennial, and I know a lot of people on YouTube are millennials as well, and I have a great feeling that we are going to change the world once we are in charge. I am 22 years old. I don't expect myself to have this insane career at the moment. I don't expect myself to be making a movement. I don't expect that from myself. But I do expect that for myself for when I'm in my 40s and 50s and 60s, because let's not be ignorant here, like we have a huge life, or I mean, that's also ignorant because you don't know how long you're going to live. But I like to look at things big picture, and I know I mentioned that in the past video or 2 videos ago that like I look at the big picture. Like I'm looking at the big picture, like this YouTube is my foundation for like people to actually see the documentation of one day when I am maybe 50 or 60 telling younger girls like I went through it, and they're gonna be like, yeah, okay. Because it's always so easy to read a book and for people to be like, I went through it and this is how I got out of it. I've read so many self-help books, I've watched so many videos, and it's like, show me. Like actually show me like something. Like I can't read another like, yeah, you get through it, blah blah blah. Like I want to see it. So that's why I'm documenting this, because like I have a big picture that one day I will be able to help a lot more people, but with knowledge. But this is just like the baby steps for people actually to see like, oh wow, she really was exactly what she was talking about. Like I don't want to sit here and look like I'm perfect or like I know what the hell I'm doing. I know I said that in every video. I just want you guys to know that this is like me getting through this stuff. Like this is me going through a really weird time of my life, and I am documenting it so that when I am stronger and when I am in this life that I know I will have one day, people will look back and be like, oh my god, you have come such a long way, like you really were doing something. And it's like, that's what I'm doing it for. I'm not necessarily doing it for like now, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to do something that no one has ever done before, and it's hard to put it into words, and like every time I've tried to express it to people, it just doesn't come out, and like it's just a vision I have in my head, and it's just an idea I've had in my head for quite some time now, and I just know that like once it does show, everyone will be like, oh, okay, I get it. Like I said, I never had the term codependency until this past year. Had I known it when I was 15 on, I would be like, oh wow, okay. People love to call it daddy issues, people love to call it a bunch of really horrific, mean names, and that's the thing that I can't stand about our society, is that people really don't take mental health seriously. And I think with all the suicides going on around, especially big names, people are actually starting to recognize like, oh my gosh, mental health is something that really needs to be taken care of, and it really needs to be something that is taught. I am such an advocate on mental health, like not like the craziest thing, me and my mom were having this conversation about I know I say it all the time, like, I lost my grandma, and, like, honestly, like, if you guys knew my upbringing, if you guys knew my childhood, you would know, like, that was probably the most traumatic person for me to personally lose. Like, she was the one person that, like, had my back through this thing called life, and losing her was just, like, I felt like an orphan. I literally felt like an orphan. Like, I don't have a close relationship with my father. We'll get to that later. And my mom and I are working on our relationship. We have a beautiful relationship, but we have a very unique relationship. So, but that was the one person that I had in this lifetime where it was like that person that just like gets you, that won't ever betray you, that has your back. And then like when that person like was gone, I was just like, okay, I'm in this alone. Where is that person for me? Such a sensitive subject to talk about. Anyway, so when I lost her, it was just like, we're talking about her last few days, because her death was very instant. Like, we knew she was sick, but it happened just like way too quickly. It was like super fast. And I had no knowledge that she was that sick. So it was just all like a whirlwind of like shock. And she actually went off someplace for medical help that was out of this country, and my mom went with her. And she said that when she was passing away, one of her last conscious days, she told my mom to throw away all her self-help books because they don't work and they won't do anything for you. And my mom never told me that. Like, she's never told me that. And, like, I have read... I love to read. Like, people, when they see me with a book, they're like, wow, you read. And I'm like, I'm just not very vocal about it, but I read a lot. And I don't know, I just don't share a lot with a lot of people because... I don't trust people. I honestly have the hardest time trusting humans, and like the more they know, I feel like the more harm they can do to your life. So I just really don't share anything. And even though it does seem like I share a lot, but I really don't. I know that's hard to explain, I guess. But anyway, so I read a lot of books, and I've read a lot of self-help books. And when my mom said that to me, I'm like, Mom, like, you've seen me with how many self-help books? Like, why didn't you tell me that earlier? Actually, like, is super interesting to me because that is someone that was almost 70 years old, has read more books than I have read, like 70 opposed to 22. Like, come on, there's big difference in age right there, and she's probably read so many more books than I have. And like I said, she's the one that taught me a lot about what I am talking about at the moment. And she told my mom to throw them all away. They don't help. You know everything within you. And that has really struck with me over the past few weeks. I think about that more often than I thought I would. And it's true. We have the answers in us. We just always, for some reason, need validation from other humans' lives and words and experiences for us to feel like we relate to something, and that's it. But when really all you need is yourself, and for you to answer your own questions, and for you to dig, you know all the answers. Like, we are crazy cool beings. Like, we are so cool. Like, my hands right now are moving without me even thinking about what my hands are doing. I'm speaking right now, but the words have already processed in my brain as they're coming out, seconds before they're coming out. Like, come on. Like, we are amazing. And I feel like there's certain things we do that kind of disappoint the human race, if you ask me. But anyway, I just go into like the weirdest topics. Anyway, back to that. So she said, like, leave all the self-help books, like, burn them, leave them. And I also was watching Ralph Smart Infinite Waltzes, and he said the same thing. He's like, you know you're ready to be a teacher when you burn your books. And like, that was like a day apart from each other, like. And I, like, honestly wanted to go to the bookstore and get another book, and I'm like, but, like, how many more books do I really need to read on the same topic? It's like watching this, it's like watching the same love, like, not the same love movie, but another Nicholas Sparks movie. Like, it's all the same, you know, if you really look at it. It's just different humans, different careers, different things that break them apart. But at the end of the day, it's all the same story. You know, and that's the same thing with this kind of stuff. It's all the same story, but just like go within. So I'm gonna like stop trying to read as often as I'm reading, because I do have the answers within, and you have the answers within. So I'm coming at you right now, not saying I have any of the answers, not saying I'm a doctor that has any of the answers, not saying that I'm even schooled on this subject, but from me, a person that is living with this, I'm able to speak on behalf of actual experience and just sharing my experience with you all. I'm not trying to sit here and give anyone advice, you know, just if you take something from this, you take something from this. If you don't, you don't. You're not born codependent. You are not born with a mental illness. There is not one human on this earth that is born with a mental illness. It is 50% a taught behavior by a parent, guardian, someone in the family, or a traumatic injury happen, like being electrocuted, drowning, concussion, a coma, things like that. That's the only two ways you can get a mental illness. So, with that being said, this is literally, we do this to ourselves. Okay, the injury part, I completely understand. You know, let's take that out. But for my half, where it was a taught behavior, something that I subconsciously watched as a child, that is, again, coming to my point of wanting to break this cycle in this universe and wanting to raise awareness that before you bring another being into this earth, make sure that this is all aligned and, you know, you're able to see things completely differently than the rest of the world. Because if we lived in an amazing world, we would not... Being in America right now, I would not feel like North Korea is about to bomb us, and I would not feel like every other country is trying to come at war with us. Like, honestly, we live in a very corrupt world. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, we live in this amazing world. Like, everything is flowers, everything is beautiful. I hate this earth. Like, I'm going to say one thing right now. I cannot stand it here. I have always said I am not from here. I've always said I was not meant to be born here. I don't know why I'm here, but I don't understand I don't understand 95% of this population. I truly don't. Like, I honestly, guys, I want you guys to get that. And I'm sure I'm not alone on this. I'm sure maybe some of you watching this right now are like, yeah, neither do I. I can't stand it. But I really don't understand. I don't. I have a really hard time with this planet. And that's why you guys are always seeing me outside on top of mountains by myself. Because maybe I'm weird, maybe I'm abnormal, but that's completely fine. I have so much more ease and happiness when I'm by myself in nature with my dogs than I ever have found happiness at a bar at midnight with a bunch of strangers around me. Like, I literally can't. I can't. I'm not meant for this. Like, I am not a normal 22-year-old. I don't find enjoyment in those kinds of things. I actually get, like, uber anxiety. Like, I can't. I don't like it. I hate it. Sitting back and doing so much work on myself, because it's now about 1.5 years since I have literally just been doing work on me, Marissa. These past 2.5 months have been like a different kind of work where it's like literally butchering my life of people and circumstances I shouldn't be in anymore. But prior to that, I have been doing a lot of work on myself. And there's this thing called shadow work that I've said before. And when you look back at it, and I thank my friend Ashley for this, she teaches me a lot of this stuff as well. It's cool because like we like have this like 50-50 street where she brings me knowledge and then I bring her knowledge, and it's like magic. But anyway, we were on our way home from Mexico and we're in this plane, and like it was weird because we just did 5-MeO DMT, and it like literally like clears your subconscious mind. Like, it wipes it clean. Like, you have a clean slate after that, which is awesome because that's exactly what this little subconscious brain of mine needed to be gone of this. And that's why I'm able to look at things with such a different perspective these days. 3 months ago, hell no. I would probably not even be able to talk about this. But now I'm like, alright, got this. Okay, so, sorry, I always get sidetracked. Anyway, so shadow work. So from 0 to 8 years old, your subconscious mind is set in stone. And you have to look back at that time of your life, and when you are having problems in your adult life now, or even early teen life, and you are having certain problems that you're noticing other peers and people don't have, you have to look back at your childhood and be like, okay, where is this stemming from? Because this is not me. I'm going to give you guys a clear example. I had my first serious boyfriend in high school. It was my senior year where it was like a serious, beautiful relationship. And he was like, honestly, like the most perfect boyfriend you could have. Like, if you make a boyfriend chart, he like checked off every single one in the list. Like, there was no denying it. And I was like madly in love with this person. And for some reason, I just knew we were so off, you know, like we were really cool together, you know, like really cool, but there was like not a depth to him and there was not a height to me, if that makes sense. Like he needed this like happy-go-lucky cheerleader that was like always happy, like that girl that could just like be friends with any girl and like super chill, and like that has just never been me. I've been a very deep, give me your deepest, darkest secrets. Let's go on top of a mountain at 2 a.m. and look up at the stars and talk about like the craziest things in our life and like just like like and it was just like opposites, but he was perfect and I was just like, what's wrong with me? Like he is perfect, but like you need something else. And like he had a very busy schedule and I had a schedule but I wasn't super busy, and like I was just like, why don't you ever want to spend so much time with me? Like that was my biggest thing. It was like, why don't you just want to be with me like all the time? Like I want to be with you all the time. And just like, if I knew what I knew now, I'd obviously be able to be like, okay, you were codependent, Marissa Christine. But at the time I didn't know. I just was like all the time, you know, like I just was like obsessed with something and someone, and I was just like, what? But like I was so annoyed with myself, but like I couldn't get through it, you know, like I couldn't like understand why I was like this and why he didn't understand me and why it just like wasn't like what I wanted, but it's exactly what I wanted, but I just needed more. It was terrible. I mean, it wasn't terrible. The relationship was beautiful. I was just terrible. Marissa Christine was terrible. Like, I just was, like, obsessed with something and just couldn't get enough of this one thing and was just like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? And, like, I would just get, like, really upset about the smallest things, and I was like, normal girls don't get mad about this, Marissa. And, like, I beat myself up. Like, I beat myself up all the time and be like, what is wrong with you? Like, chill out. But then like in the moment I couldn't. I would like freak out. It was just really weird. So that relationship ended because we just went our separate ways. It was high school. And then I got in another relationship. I've been in 3 relationships and they all have significance. And I got in my second relationship around 18 and a half. He was a bit older than me, which for me was amazing because I am an old soul and like I just don't understand immaturity. Like I just am like, grow up. Everyone I meet, I'm like, grow up, please. Like, can we just go into a library and sip some tea and talk about life? I'm telling you, I'm like just not from this earth. So for me, being with an older guy was just like, hell yeah. And when I say older, I mean he was 24. But, you know, that's a big age. Maturity-wise, that's a huge age difference. 18 and a half, 24 and a half, you know, a little off. But he was, like, so in his own world. He has huge dreams, and I fully support them. But again, my codependency was knocking on the door all the time. And it was just like, why does he want to be with me every day? What? You have to leave for a month? Are you kidding me? Oh, my gosh, no. And, like, that was me, like, sabotaging this again. And I was just like, man, like, why can't I find a person that just gets me, that wants to be here all the damn time, that doesn't want to leave my side? And that's unhealthy. Like, I'm not saying that is healthy. Like, this is what I'm working on with myself, is my codependency. But, like I said, I just thought I was a crazy neurotic girlfriend that just needs so much attention, you know? But, it stems from other things. But that was another person that I just didn't understand why he didn't want to be with me all the time. And then when he did want to be with me all the time, and then he did want to do things, it was like heaven. Like, I couldn't get enough of it. Like, I was on cloud 9. I was in heaven, and it was just perfect, you know? Like, that's that feeling for me when, like, I finally find a male, or, yeah, specifically a male, because my codependency issues come from my father. And it's just like, yes, I got it. Like, you know, it feels so good. It's like the best drug ever. And I honestly feel like that's why I've never needed drugs in my life, because I've been able to find people that just, like, are a hit. Like, people are my hit. Like, people are my injection. People are my high. Especially people I'm in love with. So, that's all I need is that person. And, we ended up going different ways because I think he honestly knew that there was like more to me that I need to grow up and figure out myself, which I applaud him for. Like, honestly, I must have been crazy to deal with at some points. But anyway, so this third relationship, which I have talked about quite often, but it honestly, like, that's like a part of me. Like, you are married your whole life, you know, like, this is a big part of your life. You create kids with a person. Like, love is everything, you know, like, money, God, get it away from me. Like, all this superficial stuff is bullcrap. Like, love and energy, like, that's what this is all about. And like, of course I'm going to focus more on it than I ever have, because I've never given it that full attention before. So this third relationship. So this is what's really interesting. I was just about to turn 19. So again, I jumped from relationship. No, I was single from my high school relationship to the adult relationship for like a year and a half. But that's when I had that depression spree where I like wouldn't get out of bed. And I had like a lot of guys that still talk to me. So, you know, whatever. But anyway, it was like 2 months in between those relationships, and I was just like really annoyed about that relationship because he didn't give me what I needed, and like I just needed a lot of attention. I just needed a lot of time spent, and he had big dreams, he had goals, and I applaud him for that. Like, you don't need to stop your life for a girl. Anyway, so I was in the kitchen with my mom, and like I just like literally like slams my hands on the table, and I was like, I just want someone that just wants to be there with me as much as I want to be with them. Like, why can't I just find this one person? And like literally, I think the universe like chuckled. I think the universe was like, ha, ha, ha. All right, girl, I got you covered. Yeah, that's when I met a very interesting person into my life. But this person, ooh, what codependents get when they finally find someone that gets them, man. Ooh, God. Lord help us. Codependents, we are, like, honestly, codependents are angels, you know? Like, we don't want ill for people. Like, we literally will give the shirt off of our back. We will do whatever it takes to keep you around us. Like, but it's for our own sickness, for you just to give us your time. Like, that's the exchange. Like, we'll do anything for you as long as you stay near us. It's like, all right, you need me to do all this for you, but you promise to be right here? Okay, I'll do all of it. Just stay right here, please. Just stay right here. And, like, that's the exchange. And, like, that's all I need, honestly. And so I meet this person, and like I said, I hope he goes into what I want him to go into, because it will make so much sense, and I feel like it will just, you know, help a lot of people. But he has his own thing. It's not codependency, it's something else. But those two people attract each other, like, and it is magic, because those people need a codependent person, and codependent people need people like that, because literally, like, him and I will not spend an hour apart from each other. Like, never. Ever. That whole relationship, like, you wouldn't see us apart. Like, glue at all times. And honestly, like, I can't even describe how amazing that felt. Like, just to have a person that wants to be with me at all times, that and when I'm not around him is texting me or calling me and making sure, like, everything's good, everything's okay all the time. It's just like, you get it. Like, you're like, thank God, like, you get it. Like, fist pump, chest pump. Come on, we got this thing called life. Like, we could do this all damn day. And then it gets unhealthy, of course, you know. But in the beginning, it's like the most intense drug, like, but like I said, I don't do drugs, so can't, but they say love and like that kind of stuff is the most intense drug, so I know it is. I know it, and you know it too. Drugs are just an escape, but humans and like these interactions, this energy, that's the biggest drug of it all. Anyway, so meeting that person and finally having a person that truly got my codependency. Whoo, man, I didn't know I was codependent. I just thought that, like, finally I found a person that was in love with me as much as I was in love with them, because that's all I could register as, was just like, oh, they love me the same amount now. Okay, great. And honestly, like I said, my codependency was fed to the max. Like, I just was infatuated. I would do anything and everything for this person, vice versa. It was like a mutual exchange. But it gets toxic, you know, like when people have mental illnesses, there is nothing called stable. We are stable being unstable, if that makes sense. That does make sense. So yeah, that's basically what you have to look forward to when you deal with two mental illnesses doing the waltz with each other. And it was just, you know, that is the best thing for a codependent, is to find a person with another mental illness that needs a codependent, because then you guys are always together, always doing the same thing, always, you guys have the same interests, like just life happens together, and like it's amazing. And I am so thankful for that, because I now know what I am, and I now know how to address what I am. I now know signals of what I am. I don't want to be codependent. Like, I want to be independent. I am independent, but I'm very codependent. It's like I only want to be with that one person, and then I could be alone with the rest of my life. Like, I don't need anyone else but that one person. And like, I could be alone, or I could be with that one person, but that's it. Two extremes. 4 years into that whole thing, I'm able to be, or yeah, no, it was about 2.5 years when I was like, I need to go to a therapist and a life coach and like get some serious help, because I was just, work was impossible for me. I never wanted to go to work. I never wanted to do anything without him. Like, I couldn't. I wanted him to do everything with me. Like, I didn't want to be alone anymore. Like, I was addicted to this human. He was addicted to me, and like all we did was be with each other all the time. And then when it came time to like actually like be a grown up and go to work and do things, we both just couldn't. And I was like, something's really unhealthy here. This is not normal. If you liked this video, please leave a big thumbs up. It is much appreciated. And if you enjoyed this, or wait, what? No, Marissa, what are you saying? Please subscribe to my channel. Please let me know if you like videos like this. I just every day like have this like little like bing, oh, you should do a video on this today. So I have like no direction anymore, especially with this injury. So I'm just kind of doing all kinds of little talking videos. But right now I'm like really into this motivational stuff, because talking to this camera like helps me more, especially like when you guys comment, I'm like, oh, I'm not alone, you know. And as someone that has challenges with codependency,